150 years, Islam had spread from Arabia to North Africa, Central and Southeast Asia, and to Spain. Within that time, Muslims had translated the major scientific works of the ancients to the works of Aristotle, Ptolemy, Euclid, Hippocrates, and to the works of scholars from India, Persia, and China. Muslims began adding their own discoveries. The Quran and the Prophet's sayings had established an era in which learning was part of worship. In this new age, learning had become a pastime for the masses. Kings and noblemen would spend fortunes in gold and jewels to purchase a few old manuscripts. People throughout the Muslim world would travel thousands of miles to study under the renowned scholars of their time. While Europe was plagued by the ignorance and superstitions of the Dark Ages, Muslims kept the torch of knowledge burning brighter than at any other time in history. Their driving inspiration, the Book of Allah.
وهو الذي سخر البحر لتأكلوا منه لحما طريا.
He is the one who regulates the sea so that you may eat fresh meat from it and extract gems to wear from it. You see ships plowing the waves so you may seek some of his bounty in order that you may feel grateful. Surah An-Nahl, verse 14. Encouraged by various such passages in the Quran, Muslims journeyed around the world to seek the bounty of their Lord. In doing so, they wrote accurate and detailed accounts of their travels. Muslim explorers made it a point to record everything they saw: culture, tradition, plant and animal life, geographical conditions, and so on. Muslims developed advanced compasses for finding the direction towards Mecca in order to pray and to determine the easiest route for making the pilgrimage. The longitudes and latitudes of hundreds of cities were recorded with greater accuracy than ever before. In nautical geography, Muslims made significant achievements. Few people know, for example, that the words typhoon and monsoon come from the Arabic tufan and mosim. This map contains extensive information on West Africa and America. It was made by Pir Muhyiddin Rais in the 15th century. Such maps become even more impressive when we discover that Muslims had been making trips to America 500 years before Columbus. The Earth was a constant source of wonder for Muslim scholars, who would determine that the Earth was round long before the concept was accepted in Europe. In fact, Muslims designed and developed the first globe of our planet over 830 years ago. Almost 1,000 years ago, the great scientist Al-Biruni attempted to calculate the circumference of the Earth. His calculations were off, but only by 0.2%. In Surah An-Naml, verse 61, the Quran asks, "Who has made the earth stable to live on, and made rivers in its midst, and set thereon mountains standing firm, and placed a barrier between the two seas? Can there be another God besides Allah? Nay, most of them know not." The repeated emphasis on observing nature in the Quran led Muslims to develop highly sophisticated observational methods. The science of paleontology is thought to have developed around the 18th century. But 800 years before paleontology was thought to have existed, a group of Muslims known as Ikhwan as-Safa were describing fossils of sea animals that had become petrified in land which they said was once covered by ocean water. The Ikhwan as-Safa also described in some detail the birth, structure, and growth behavior of a wide variety of plants. Muslims made major developments in botany. They classified plants according to climate, geography, gender, and medicinal value. Through their encyclopedia-sized works, Muslims introduced a great deal of new botanical information to the world. They were also responsible for acquainting the West with oranges, lemons, rice, grapefruit, and sugar. And, as in other sciences, it's doubtful that Muslims would have made the contributions they did had it not been for the Quran.
وفي الأرض قطع متجاورات وجنات من أعناب وزرع ونخيل.
And behold, there are different regions on the earth close to one another. There there are vineyards, farmlands, and the groves of palm trees with single or double trunks. All are irrigated with the same water, but we make some more tasteful than others. Most surely, there are many signs in all this for those who understand and use their common sense. Surah Ar-Ra'd, verse 4. As with the world of plants, Muslims did extensive research in the animal kingdom as well. Treatises were written in Persian, Turkish, and Arabic. Animals of all types were studied for a variety of reasons: to practice veterinary medicine, for breeding purposes, and for exploratory research. Abu Ali ibn Sina, a famous Muslim scholar of the 11th century, went so far as to write on aspects of animal psychology. This, while people in medieval Europe thought that bees were born from the stomachs of dead cows.
وَإِنَّ لَكُمْ فِي الْأَنْعَامِ لَعِبْرَةً.
Truly, in the cattle there is a lesson for you. We give you to drink from what is inside their bellies, from between excretions and blood, a milk pure and pleasant to drink. Surah An-Nahl, verse 66. The Quran repeatedly refers to the human body. It reminds man to reflect on his own metabolism, which itself conforms to the laws of God. Man's conception, birth, growth, maturity, senility, and death are all described as proof of God's creation. With the help of the Quran, Muslims were able to develop a holistic approach to medicine. The body was thought to have two qualities similar to nature. It was integrated and balanced. Muslim physicians diagnosed a patient in order to return his or her body to its natural, harmonious state. Doctors would look at a patient's physical and psychological condition and then take into account his spiritual well-being. Generally, Muslim physicians considered preventing illnesses to be more important than curing them. They were the first to stress that good health depended on a proper diet, exercise, and hygiene. Universal Medicare was always a feature of the best Muslim governments. In the 10th century, fully equipped mobile hospitals were established to visit remote areas and prisons. Doctors had to be licensed in order to practice medicine. Hospitals would have adjoining medical schools where doctors would teach in the morning and practice in the afternoon. The modern